Well, welcome back. This is the Séance of Blake Manor. I think this is episode 31 on the 31st of January. And also the 31st of October in-game, don't forget. We have gone in the last handful of episodes from being very, very concerned about time to being worried we won't solve all the mysteries available to us. That we were falling behind, that everything was getting away from us, to actually making a hell of a lot of progress. And I think ending up with a surfeit of time, or a surplus of time, however you want to phrase it. I'm now doubting myself as to what surfeit actually means. So let's go with surplus. Yes, so let's catch ourselves up to where we are before we delve into whatever the hell we're doing today, which I think might start with the library, I'm not sure. Last episode, we solved, or we resolved, I guess, Father Sinnott's storyline, in which he has been working, well, he thought he was working with Doyle to free... Oh no, now I've lost my whole thing. Let's go with his confront. Yes, that's right. He is going to free the Ian from the Black Iron prison. The Ian. Like it's a guy named Ian. The Eon from the Black Iron prison. Which is how Gnostics view the current world. Doyle had come to Blake Manor originally on this quest to work out, to find out what he could about the Eon and how it was trapped and how the manor was connected to all this. But once he got to the manor, whatever the malevolent thing is in the manor, which we're not entirely sure of yet, but we have some ideas, took hold of him and kind of put him in a weird trance. And he sort of ended up staying locked into this role as a bellboy, forgetting all about his Gnostic mission, even when Father Sinnott arrived on the scene and was like, Doyle, what are you doing? I haven't heard from you. How much progress have you made on our mission? And the answer was none. So we freed Doyle from his trance. Doyle is getting the hell out of here as soon as the seance is finished, and he's abandoned the Gnostic mission. He's heading to Europe to live out his dreams of travelling, as far as I'm aware. Father Sinnott was planning on doing something drastic to release the Eon, but I believe, and let's read his act little epilogue thing, he has also abandoned that and kind of left it to us to do something. So let's read this. Father Sinnott believes there's an entity trapped here at the manor, an Eon, that could be freed to save humanity. So Father Sinnott's mission is, I think, one of the most closely wrapped up in the larger mission that we're on here at the manor, to do with some malevolent spirit that is possibly trapped. We think the kind of god entity that we saw in the maze and in our dreams is possibly trapped here as well. Or it could be one and the same. Anyway, he's shown me that the sigil he believes can free it by killing it in its physical form. He's asked me to aid him in this task because he's no longer psychically able to continue his search or attend the seance. He is very old and weak. So he's not going to the seance. We got his goo. Mission's on us now. So this is kind of tied into everything else we're doing. Finding Evelyn Dean and all the other shit. So, in recent times, we've ended Doyle's storyline. We've ended Father Sinnott's storyline. We've also ended Lowen, McLeod and Hunter. And Murphy. No, we haven't ended Murphy. We've ended Joyce. Murphy. We actually need to speak to Father Sinnott, which I've got written here about the baby. I'm going to draw a little picture of a baby here so I can remember that's what I'm doing, because I've written Murphy in a really scraggy handwriting. So, on the to-do list, of which we may have to go forward to 5 o'clock to progress with some of this. And I'm not too worried about it. I think we've gone from fighting for every minute to actually deciding when we're okay to kind of actually jump forward a bit and move towards the end game. I think we're in the end game, but a few things to do. I'm going to go to the library because I want to just reread up on the Eon and the Demiurge. Because when Father Sinnott was talking to us about it, I was like, I've kind of forgotten the gist of this. So I just want to make sure I'm on the case. I'll read it quickly though, so I don't bore you. We need to get into Varley's quarters. Varley is currently in his quarters, so we can't do that till probably the next hour. I don't actually know if we've got his itinerary. I think we might do. Okay, he's kind of disappeared for this amount of time, so I think he might be in his quarters. I hope not, but we'll check. We'll check at 5 o'clock if we can get in there. Now, the message on Ofin's staff we need to get to, which is in the missing person mystery. This, I don't know where to go for this. I'm lost. I don't know if something in the library is going to give us some information on that. I can't talk to anyone about that. Yeah, I'm not sure where we're going to go on this. Unlock the magic to me. I wonder if that's just going to click in with the Father Sinnott stuff, which is all about unlocking and releasing. I'm not sure. Get more facts from people generally, especially, so as I think we discussed last time, there are people who are not X'd off. So Mantovani, I don't think it's Mantovani, but we only know 4 out of 8 facts. And I think knowing more facts and comparing them to facts over here are going to be able to like narrow people in. But I think we've narrowed it down. I think we've narrowed it down to the Blakes, but we haven't officially. Mantovani, the 2 Blakes, Coventry, and I think that's it for people that we haven't eliminated as suspects for being the culprit. But Coventry, we haven't. We still got some details to do. He studied the grounds in details. He's Protestant. Maybe if I go back into his room, I'll be able to see where his shoes are. But I don't know. I haven't got that before. Speak to Sinnott about Murphy. And we believe Walter's in control, but we can't do anything about that just yet. So, we can't access Sinnott. We can't access Varley's quarters. So I say we start with the library and then I think push it forward to 5 o'clock. So that's step 1. Let's go downstairs. To the library. That's the atrium, so I think the library's actually going to be... maybe not. Maybe we're on the other side of the thing. Just when you think you know where you are. Okay, we're on a completely different side of the map. Right. Eon Demiurge. So they are going to be in... I don't think they're going to be in religion, but I'll have a little look. Yeah. Blah, 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 blah. No. Nothing right now. Spiritualism, maybe. Yep. No, none of that. Irish folklore. Nope. Irish mythology. Ooh, lots of stuff. I feel like we've looked at all of this. We've got time on our hands. These are the ancient gods. And then the gods... some bullshit happened to them. They ended up in... This is the underworld, the fairy world, the other world. Right? Ooh. That's been taken away. A fierce battle between the Tuathas of Danann. Oh, God, he said it out loud last time. I think it's Tuatha de Danann and the Milesians, which are the early humans that arrived in Ireland. Blah, 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 blah. A truce. Milesians. Pick the top half. And the gods moved to the underworld. Yep, I remember that now. Giants, I don't think we care about. No, 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 no. I don't think so. And the veil. The veil is the barrier between the living and the dead, the mundane world and the spirit world. We knew that. Times when the veil thins. This is kind of where we are now. This is why there's a seance. Yep. You know all this. You know what I like about the library in this game as a kind of mechanic? It's... Some bits are necessary. Some bits are sort of mechanically necessary as part of the puzzle solving. You're required to look up certain things to progress the story and give you clues to talk to people about and get things. And actually, I think a lot of the important things end up on this table, like the Ogum or the Oum or whatever that we had to translate. Ended up here. The book on Gnosticism, which allowed us to progress with the Father Sinnott and Doyle storyline and so on. And maybe actually this is where it's going to be. But a lot of the library is not necessary reading, but the game is sort of... This is a game about gods and spiritualism and magic and all that kind of... But, so, with that in mind, what I'm about to say is, in terms of its storytelling, the game is quite grounded in its place, people, and setting. So people will talk about things. They'll talk about things in Irish mythology, in Irish history, in their religion, and so on, that they won't necessarily go into when you talk to them. If I have a conversation with Mantanavi, she's not going to go into the history of her beliefs and Catholicism and tarot cards and all that. If I talk about Father Sinnott, he's not going to go into great detail about Gnosticism. Maybe if I push him, but they'll talk quite naturally with me and each other. And if I want to know more about stuff that does exist in our world in terms of things we could read about, this stuff on Gnosticism, this stuff on Irish mythology, and this stuff on this Ogham language, I could look up in the real world. I could Google it, or I could get a book out of the real library and look all this stuff up. The things on Irish history that are on the other isles that don't end up on this table, a lot of the stuff here is to add flavour and context to the stuff you're hearing, to allow you as a player to get more depth and understanding on what's being talked about, that could be helpful to you to play the game, or could be helpful to you to understand the characters, or could be helpful to understand the setting. It just adds a depth. It gives you the information if you're like, I don't really understand what people are talking about, or it would be helpful to know more. And I think when I first came to the library, I thought, we're going to need this. This is important. Everything that we have access to is important information that it's going to be evidence for us going forward. And then after a while, I was like, a lot of it isn't. I'm going to have to pick and choose which bits I want to, because I don't want to spend an entire video reading stuff in the library. But I've come to appreciate that actually it's useful in giving the depth of this game's story's place inside of its real setting of late 19th century Ireland and the spiritualism of that time, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I've waffled on. I just appreciate what the library's doing. It's giving us a lot if you are interested in that kind of thing, and if you're not, you don't have to read it. We have read some of it. I'm not going to read this all out loud. I'm just going to pick up on the things that we want, the Eon and the Demiurge stuff. So, the being commonly seen as God is in fact a powerful but lesser Demiurge, a version of the traditional devil figure. Okay, so the Demiurge is devil-like, so that's bad. The Demiurge is the secret child of some eons. Child of eons. The faith's creator angels. So here we go, this is all happening. Creator angels. Let's see if I can remember this before the game ends. I've heard it a couple of times. So the Demiurge was hidden in this realm by its parent for fear of retaliation from the true creator. Bored, lonely, and jealous, it created humanity to worship it as a god, but it itself was flawed, and thus so are we, its creations. They believe the actual way to ascend into heaven and meet its true creator, Monad, equals, I'm just going to write Monad equals God, is to realize the falsities of this reality and find a way to break free of this plane of material lies. The faith seems to exist to answer the question, why does God allow bad things to happen, with the response being, true God does not know of this place. So Monad is a true God, exists on a completely different plane. This world has been created by the Demiurge for its own means and is kind of a secret from those above. Right, got it. Got it. Right, we tick that shit off. Tick. Are we going to get anywhere with this Othin's staff stuff? Or do we need to push on to 5 o'clock and deal with the 5 o'clock stuff? We've looked this up, haven't we? And this is going to be... Have we even looked at stuff like this? Okay. Oliver Cromwell, Mardi Gras, might give some information on some of the characters, as we were saying. Flora and fauna. Flora and fauna. I'm going to have a quick look through the library, just in case anything... Yeah, White Heather gave us information about marriage. That was McLeod. She was wearing White Heather. Quinine we did look up, because that was about what Lau was giving. Sciences. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. I think we're good. Hisham we've crossed off. Why have we crossed her off? She's not a Christian. It's because she's not a Christian. Okay. I'm going to go to Coventry's room quickly and just check if he's got any shoes in there. And then I think I'm going to go forward to 5 o'clock. I'm going to risk it. Coventry's southwest corridor, so we go straight across from the stairs. Okay. You think I would have learned the orientation of the... So southwest corridor's over there. I think I would have learned the orientation of the atrium by now, but I really haven't. Ladies. Cool, let's go. Okay. What have we got? Right, where are your shoes, man? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess he just doesn't leave shoes lying around, so I haven't missed anything. Coventry, you are a mystery fella. Okay, in terms of the other people we haven't X'd off, do we need to go through this? Maybe I won't do it right now, but I think at some point we just need to double check we're Xing off people for the right reasons, and that the only people we have left are these people. I think I'm feeling 90% confident on that, but it'd be good to know. What do we need to know on Blake? Quite a lot of stuff. And how are we going to get facts out of them? That is a question. For example, Coventry. What can we ask him? Not a lot. But we've got time on our hands. We could ask him these 4 things and it won't really make a dent. I think Blake, the Marquess, we can ask even less, really. Yeah, I mean, I might as well ask him these things. That's going to be 5 minutes. He's downstairs. I'm just gonna ask him. Just gonna ask him. See if we can squeeze any information out of him. But I think the last dregs of information on the Mark quest might be from sneaking into his room at 8 o'clock. Hello, Mr. Ward.
Ah, Mr. Ward. How can I help?
I'm going to chat to you about random shit. Might I ask how much of the area belongs to you and your family? I'm unsure anymore. We owned quite a lot a long time ago. Some are sold over the years, or traded as dowries. There are records, but I'd have to go and search them. No, don't worry about that. Hauntings, please. It's likely the time of year and the event playing with my mind, but I could swear I've seen things, figures in the distance. There have been reports of hauntings on the manor and its grounds as far back as my family have held it. Certainly I've encountered the occasional oddity myself. What do I think they are? In truth, I do not know. Are they even real? Well, on that all I can say is the Blake family records are littered with mysterious deaths and insanities, and have no other explanation. Hopefully tonight we'll find out for certain. Tell me of the Fae. Can you tell me anything about the Fae? I know the workers on the land and leave out tribute to them and blame them when the crops... Sir? Oh, that's not how you pass that sentence. I know the workers on the land leave out tribute to them and blame them when the crops go wrong. When a person goes missing, it's often blamed on them too. Or when a child has an accident. You look to be carrying the world upon your shoulders, Marquess. These last few years have not been easy. But that will all be in the past soon. A new day, a new chapter is only hours away. Okay, we're not going to learn anything about you, but I can basically write off everything. It must be a great privilege to be the Marquess of Doon. It is, but I cannot lie, the title means less nowadays. The family is smaller, the holdings smaller still. It is my hope that turning the manor into a hotel and hosting this event will play their parts in reinvigorating the role before I pass it on to Walter. Great. Do I want to ask you about anyone? I could ask you about Walter. I'm going to ask you about Varley. We know a lot. We don't know much about Varley. Has Mr. Varley been with you long? Since the beginning. He's a fine man, a loyal man. I know this event does not sit well with him and the other staff, but they understand it's important to me, and so they work their damnedest to make it work. That's the attitude one needs in servants. And you know what? I'm going to ask you about O'Finn because I'm hitting a brick wall. Have you met with Mr. O'Finn? That's the mountain man, yes? Not yet, but I intend to speak with him before the seance. Good luck with that. He's underworld.
If you'll excuse me, Marquess Blake.
Of course.
I can't speak as deeply as Marquess Blake. You know how my impressions of all the other guests are perfect. Marquess Blake, not so much. I'll badger Coventry if I know where he is. Is he on? I think he's on the Wall Garden actually. Yeah. I'm gonna badger Coventry because I might as well use up my minutes in this hour, exhausting my questions of him, rather than just pushing it on. I think at some points we are going to be clicking that hourglass, but
Mr. Ward, how are you?
you know what? First things first, I'm going to ask you about Victoria Lau because she has got your cufflinks. Have you had the opportunity to meet Miss Lau? Miss McLeod's chaperone? Only through her companion. She seems as out of place here as myself. Okay, great. This green is bullshit. Let's just go from the right to the left. I mean, the washerwoman is a pointless question because everyone has the same thing to say. We learned what we could about the washerwoman basically the first time we asked. This may sound odd, but have you seen a woman washing clothes on the grounds? You mean the housekeeper, Mrs. Joyce? I assume she does all the work in the basement. Certainly I've seen none of it anywhere else. Even worse. Even worse an answer. Why are you standing in the rain? Get inside. Have you noticed anything strange happening in the manor? It's probably nothing, you know, but sometimes I do think there are more crows around here than there should be. Perhaps that's what the Irish countryside is like, but it feels as if they are watching me. All of them. As mundane as it is likely, it is very unsettling. Crows. Why not? Why not go look up crows? The device in the atrium is a strange one, no? Everything here is strange to me, but yes, that one really stood out. I'm told it measures our readiness for the seance. How? I do not know. But now it is decreasing. I hope that isn't anything to worry about. And the Fae. Ding dong. Do you happen to know anything about the Fae? Ah, perhaps we'd best not talk about them. For the sake of our superstitious guests, I mean. I don't want to upset anyone.
Good day, sir.
Good
and to you.
Day, sir. Goodbye. Get inside, for God's sake. What are you doing? Okay, quickly look up crows. Then we'll go to 5 o'clock. Then we'll go to the talk. And then we'll do some other bullshit. Sounds like a plan. Good job, Stuart. You're totally on top of this. Where are we going to find crows? Flora and fauna? Ba-ba-ba. This was just... Here we go. There are many types of crow. This being species of bird within the Corvus genus. In common parlance, the word crow may refer to any one of them. Typically, crows are understood to be black, with long pointed beaks suitable for scavenging, as they are indeed carrion birds. Carrion birds live off the dead flesh, and are abundant as crows in northern Europe. So crows are carrion birds, and carrion birds are as abundant as crows. What a couple of sentences. Their tendency to congregate around battlefields to eat the flesh of fallen soldiers has been inspiration for many incidents of folklore and story. And they are now almost universally recognised as symbolic of death. Great, see? Bit of flavour text. There's a lot of crows around. That's given us some meat to think about. Unnecessary, but it's given us a bit more context. It'll be the same context as we would find in the real world. Okay, I'm pushing us forward 2 minutes. I'm being bold. Dong. Let's go to the talk. Oh shit, do we have to be in the talk room to get the talk? Have I missed it again? Ah! Remember last time we missed the talk because I wasn't in the room when the talk... Okay, we can enter.
Well, this is quite the turnout. Even the Marquess himself has come. Well...
So this is the history of the region, I think. Who have we got? Sinnott, Skerritt, the Callahans, Quinn... Barbosa, and I guess that must be the Marquess.
I hadn't expected anyone to take much interest in the area.
Oh, well.
I suppose I should start by introducing myself. My name is Simon Coventry.
I'm so sorry, I've been calling you Coventry.
I'm going to share some interesting facts about this part of Ireland that I picked up while researching for this trip.
We got time.
So, I'm sure you all know, this land came into the Blake family in the 1650s after Cromwell's invasion. What I found interesting was what came before. This land was a place of worship and innovation. A gathering spot for scholars and engineers and artists to work on understanding and advancement, the betterment of their people.
And then the British came and fucked it all up.
Easy pickings for Edward Blake. No doubt he and Cromwell cared very little for any knowledge held by primitive pagans.
We truly are the worst. What's happening?
I couldn't find anything that spoke to what happened at the work from that site. Presumably it was set ablaze. One has to assume not everyone was put to death by Cromwell's forces. However, I suspect many surrounding families have stories and knowledge passed down from that time and those people. Why, given his background, perhaps our very own Dr. Callahan is linked to that place.
You flatter me, sir.
Perhaps those survivors are the reason that Connacht is home to all manner of wonderful myths and sacred sites.
Are we skipping forward in the lecture when these things happen? Are we to presume things happened in between here and we're just sort of getting a vignette of every little section? Anyway.
Rachroin and Owenaga Cave, Queen Maeve and her cattle raids, the Children of Lear. All fascinating stories, but too long to get into here.
Okay.
Certainly worth a read in the very well stocked library here, if you find yourself bored. Not that I can see that happening with the seance only hours away.
Does anything of the pre-Christian site still exist?
I've been watching the clock. The clock does move here. And we're now at past, which is a big jump. Sorry, the pre-Christian site.
Oh, I don't think so, I'm afraid. From what I can gather, it was all razed to make way for the castle and its estate.
Yep, okay.
I read one monk's account that what was here before was partially underground.
Catacombs?
You've done your homework, Father. Yes, some accounts do suggest that, though none of the maps I've studied show anything useful. Marquess?
There are some sinkholes on the far reaches of the grounds, where caverns beneath the old settlements collapsed in. I do not know whether those collapses are the result of time, or if they were manually closed. I suppose it matters not either way. Nothing else remains.
Well, there you go, Father.
Okay.
That's me, I am afraid. I've nothing else to share.
Okay.
Probably quite mundane in the face of everything, but nothing wrong with a break in the face of madness.
So, I think the lectures are useful for your gameplay, a lot of them. I'm not entirely sure that one was necessarily, but I think they all add flavour. Because you can miss them, which I have missed a few, they're not necessary. And I think, as we spoke in the library, I think a lot of them add that nice meaty context behind the stories we're encountering in this game. Not convinced that was all needed though, but again, we've got time on our side now. Is Mantovani in here? No. Where is Mantovani? I think she's C, Mantovani. Oh, I don't think we know her schedule. No, maybe we do. Maybe she's gone to her room. I mean, she doesn't even have the seance in her diary. He's in the front courtyard. I'm just thinking if I can find her. She's in the kitchen. If I can find Mantovani, I can... I can't remember what. I can't remember what I was going to say. But we do need to ask her some questions. Oh, and we do... I was going to say we can ask her about her schedule, I guess. But it's kind of a bit of looping logic there, because I need her schedule to find out where she is. And if I can't find her, I can't ask about her schedule. Right, let's wrap up Murphy.
Yes, my child.
Yes, so we're going to ask Father Sinner if he knows about Murphy's child. Father, I was wondering if I might ask something of you. I couldn't tell you without knowing what it is you're asked of me. The cook, Miss Murphy. She's a little girl who was taken into custody by the Magdalen Laundry shortly after her birth. She is anxious for news of her. I said I'd ask on her behalf. There is so much suffering in this life, is there not? Why is it that God allows a child to be taken from her mother? Is that bond not God's plan? Is it not sacred? What agents of the divine are we, that we would do something so vile? Are we agents of the divine at all? What you ask is outside of my power or influence. At least as you would ask it. I would end her suffering, all suffering, in my own way. But that is of no use to her. Here now. No, I'm sorry to say she will not see that child again by conventional means, Mr. Ward. But we're surrounded by unconventional means, are we not? Many of them is yet to... My God. Many of them has a way to see what can't normally be seen. Now go with God and help that poor girl. What have you said to me? You've said nothing. I mean, you've expressed your sympathy, but... Okay. 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 I can say it again. Okay.
I'll take my leave, Father.
Go with God.
You don't know anything about Ogham, do you? Okay. Alright. Okay. Okay. So we can talk to Mantovani and the Callahans. No, Fia Callahan. Isn't there meant to be a well scrying right now? Yes. Okay, right. Well, Fia's right there. So let's start with her. Fia's my favourite.
Ah, Declan. Aren't you fierce good coming back to see me?
If someone talks to me like this, I just can't help it. What a lovely, what a lovely warm welcome, no matter how sinister you might be. You know what, while we're here, let's ask about this. I'm going to start with the Milicians, and then I'm going to ask about this. Right. Because then I feel like we have a more natural conversation. What can you tell me about the Milicians? Well, that's a race of a man who came to this island and battled for the gods for the right to stay. Funny. We first thought them, and then we worshipped them. And then we largely forgot. I like that more than worshipping the god we all lost to in the end myself. Did you know that Miss Dean hails from a powerful Milician bloodline? That's what I've been hearing, at least. Does she now? That little. No wonder she... Oh, I've no time to spend on bitterness, Dean, Declan. I'll hope she miraculously puts it to good use, and I'll leave it at that. Okay.
I'll let you...
You take care now, Declan.
Yeah. Oh, Ali. The other Callahan's not here. Yes, he is. I'm just going to ask this. I'm going to ask the same thing, because...
Mr. Ward.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you about this. Maybe I'll ask you about this. Can you tell me much about the Kaylee? Anne Kaylee, or she's sometimes unfavorably called the Winter Hag. Her time is upon us. She rules us from... Oh, I learned how to pronounce this yesterday because a friend of mine told me off. Or not told me off, but was like, corrected me. 1 second. Okay. Her time is upon us. She rules from Samhain to Bealtaine. Samhain being commonly known now as Halloween. Bealtaine is May 1st and is ruled over by Breed. She ushers in the cold, the dark and the wet. She guides the old and the sick to the other world in that time. Then, come May, she's gone again to rest. Cool. Right, let's talk about Evelyn Dean. Did you know that Miss Dean comes from a powerful blood? I didn't. Though I'd expect nothing less from a practitioner of her caliber. Blood counts for more than it should, I know, but magically, certainly, hers seems unparalleled. Okay, great. That's fine.
I have to be on my way. Be well.
Okay, right. Can you do a bit of well scrying to
Declan.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure what you're going to do, but I feel like Nan Tavani's going to be more used because maybe she can tarot her way into some sight. But sure.
Do you think you'd be able to lead Miss Murphy in well scrying? It would do her good to see her daughter, but the Magdalen Laundry that took her child, they won't share any information.
Oh, I can think of no better cause. You tell Miss Murphy I'm ready whenever she is, and to meet me at the well.
See? She's a good person. Are we going to magically whisk there now? Yes, we are.
There you are.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I wasn't sure from the way, from the letter we found from Varley and the way that Murphy spoke about it, how sympathetic Varley was, because he was quite short in his letter, I think. So I'm glad to see he's got her back.
Come here now. Have you done this before, Alanov?
Lanov.
No, miss. I've never... I didn't know it would really work. Does it? It most certainly does. Come here and stand beside me. You'll want to look into the well and try and get your thoughts calm. Take all the time you need. Deep breaths. There. Now, I want you to think about your daughter. Do your best to picture her in your mind. Look at that. There you go. That's her?
I wish this text bar wasn't covering it up.
She has your eyes, does she not? She looks all right. Oh, she looks well. Oh, I was so worried. I
mean, this is lovely. But Varley always looks so fucking sinister. He doesn't have to be in this shot, but my god.
I hope you'll get to see her again someday. But until then, I can show you how to do this for yourself too, you know.
I mean, the way I will talk about this in just a sec. I'm just distracted by thoughts. The way the Marquess spoke about Varley as a loyal servant, along with this sinister imagery, is keeping me on the hook a bit with Varley being suspect, even though I know he's being controlled by young Walter Blake, possibly, or the Demiurge or whatever. Back to this scene. I think this is a really nice resolution for Murphy, who I was very suspect of for quite a while because she was very, like, looking to the side constantly, not giving away very much, kind of refusing to talk to us a lot of the time, giving us no information about anything. And seeing the kind of trauma she went through and being able to be given some peace by another character is quite lovely. I'm sorry I was thinking about Varley through some of it, but there's a lot going on in this game now, especially now we know a lot about the characters and we know why they're here, what they've been going through and stuff, and we don't actually know anything about Varley really, and he has been this lingering spectre, and from the moment we were introduced to him he has been kind of sinister. But anyway, don't mean to ruin this moment because it's a nice moment.
You... really?
And not only that, it's not a... like, the Magdalene laundries were a real thing, and real women had their children taken away from them and never saw them again. And this game has been quite good at dealing with things that are grounded in some form of reality related to, you know, the history, the era, the period, the location. And so I wasn't too worried it was going to give us a resolution that was unrealistic, like that she was going to get her child back, or that she was going to be able to find her, or even find out about her through conventional means. So I was kind of curious as to what it was going to give Murphy, if anything. And this seems like a nice way of kind of almost having your cake and eating it. Like it didn't step beyond the bounds of giving her something in reality that most women who went through this didn't get. Like, I think giving her child back would be unrealistic and a little bit not dismissive, but unburdened from the weight of reality, I guess. And so using the kind of supernatural element to mean that her piece is with being able to see through this psychic ability and presence that we've seen in this game is a nice way of kind of balancing the reality of the situation with the world of this game and these characters.
I've no words. That'd be... thank you so much. It's no trouble at all, sweetheart.
Because I think Murphy is already recognised that, at least for the foreseeable future, while her kid is still a child, she's not going to see her. I think she knows that. But I think what she's racked by personally is just having no information at all and being left completely in the dark. And this has brought her into the zone where she can find peace. To love that child so much, she scarcely met her before they were separated. Separated in God's name. Did the Lord not die for our sins?
It doesn't ease the hurt in my heart to see her, but it does with the guilt. I didn't know how heavy that was sitting on my soul. now that I know she's okay, I think I can rest.
Why don't you take some time, Miss Murphy, and rest? I think we can handle the seance without you.
Again, I'm glad Varley is sympathetic, because he's a bit of a stone wall. He's professional, he runs the hotel, he doesn't have any mind for any of the supernatural business going on, he doesn't really have any care for the dramas, I guess, of all the guests that we've mingled ourselves in, and he did seem to be quite curt in his correspondence with Murphy. But when given the opportunity to show up for probably not his friend, but his staff, his colleague, he has done.
If you're sure, sir, I do feel weary from all this.
There we go. Miss Murphy will no longer be attending the seance. Miss Murphy was able to use well scrying to see her child and will continue her studies in magic under Miss Callahan. There we go. I guess that leaves one more goo. That dirty laundry really is not... So Dirty Laundry was the name of the achievement we just got, if you didn't spot that in the bottom corner, for completing that storyline, which after going through all of it and chatting through it as we just did, seems like, I know it's a bit of a pun, I don't know, bordering a little bit on crass, I think, but it's fine. One sec. Oops. Sorry, needed to blow my nose, didn't want to do it on camera. Was able to arrange for Miss Callahan to scry for Miss Murphy. This provided a glimpse of the little girl alive and well. Miss Callahan has promised to scry for her as often as Miss Murphy would want it. Feeling a wave of relief from seeing her child, Miss Murphy is going to rest while the seance is taking place, rather than attend it. Good. We didn't need... Carmen Mantavelli. After all. Do you think perhaps there would have been a alternative resolution through tarot? Or if we'd have gone with Mantovani instead? Or do you think she would have said, I don't know how to do this, go and speak with Fia? I don't know. So I can only imagine the last goo is Coventry. But I think Coventry can't be resolved until we go to the Blake residence. I can't imagine we're going to be able to get rid of Jonathan Blake's goo, because he's central to the seance, and I don't think Walter Blake was ever attending the seance, so I don't think it's going to be his glue. So I don't think we're going to... Yeah, so he's waiting for the Blake residence. Motivation for the seance. So, with Jonathan Blake, attend the silent dinner, investigate the Blake residence. Those are both things that we can't do till 8 o'clock. Coventry, again, we need to investigate the Blake residence. We can't do that till 8 o'clock. So, this screen, in terms of ticking people off, managing their storylines and all that, I don't think we can make any progress on until 8 o'clock. What we can do is continue to find the facts, as we have been doing. Well, we haven't been doing that at all, but we've sort of asked a few questions. But as is already on our mind, we can continue to do that. So I think, right now, this is the only thing we can make progress on. We can make progress on that. Well, we can make progress on the missing person, and we can make progress on finding the facts. We can go into Varley's quarters. That's an there's one more thing. Varley. There's one more slot of juice left. By juice, I obviously mean spooky goo. It's real thing. And there's Blake, Varley, and Coventry. And I don't think it's the Blakes. So where does Varley come into all of this? We've still got to go to the Varley's quarters. And I think what I'll do... I forgot which way I was walking. I think this is the way. I think we're going to go down to the basement. And I think with this episode, I will waffle to you as I walk towards the basement. And see if we can get into his quarters. But then, here's what we're going to do for the rest of this episode, which will be a couple of minutes long. Go. We'll go into the basement. We'll stand outside of Varley's room and we'll listen. If the room is empty, then we know we can go into the basement. And we know we can go into Varley's quarters and investigate. Otherwise... we know we can't. Basically, I'm setting us up so we know what we can do next episode. Damn it. Okay, so next episode we're not going in Varley's quarters. And as we noticed, Varley is not on the timetable until 8 o'clock. Where I believe he'll be standing outside of the dining hall. Yeah. That's what that suggests to me. East corridors. So he's going to be manning the... In which case, where's Doyle going to be? Don't know. Okay, we can come back and check at 6 o'clock, but for now, I don't think we can... I don't know what we can do. But we've got 2.5 hours left. I think we're very quickly moving towards the end game, if I'm honest. Today's the last episode of the week. I think... Are we going to finish next week, maybe? I think we're going to rapidly push through these next 2 hours. I think the main thing we need to figure out is the writing on O'Finn's staff. If we can figure out how to resolve that. Otherwise, I don't know how much more information we're going to get. But with that, I think let's call it for today and start afresh next week. And I think push forward quite hard, time-wise. Ask as many questions as we need to do. We've got time easily on our hands. Yeah. Okay, quite a waffly, talky episode this one. I don't think we did mechanically very much, but we did deal with Murphy, and I really enjoyed that storyline. We were waiting a long time to find out about Murphy, and I think it was a lovely resolution to that, even if it was a melancholic one. I mean, most of them are quite melancholic, I guess. A lot of death, a lot of people working through emotions one way or another, even if they're murderous ones. In the case of Bumberclutch. Okay, but yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope that was interesting to you. And maybe next week... I think next week we'll definitely get through to this bit. This 8 o'clock period might be a chunky hour, and we may spend a few episodes there. I'm not sure. I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea how long we're going to spend in the silent dinner. I have no idea how long we're going to spend in the Blake residence, and I have no idea what happens when we get to 9 o'clock. But I think next week, I think we're going to get there, because I just don't think there's much else we're going to be able to do. Thank you for watching. Do comment and like. I like the comments. It's like the comments are the favorite thing. You can like if you like, but you know, you can tell me without spoiling what you think. I know what game I'm going to play after this as well, so we're going to, when we do get to the random resolution list, we're going to segue into something else that I have planned. Yes, that's my long goodbye. Goodbye for now. Enjoy. Whoosh.